We're going to get on to, I know one of your favourite topics is the weed, the marijuana, the devil's letters and all that kind of thing. And I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, there was a news story out, and I knew I was going to have you on a couple of weeks in advance. And I'll ask you about that in a second, in fact. Now, I think it was like December 17th or something, lady wrestler in the WWE called Liv Morgan. She was arrested initially for felony possession and then misdemeanor
I was going to say
possession.
fentanyl. I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, don't be spreading those rumors.
yeah, dude. No, yeah, I'll edit that. No, forget it. Of marijuana in Florida, December 2023. It was reported that WWE harbored no ill will and the possession charge would not affect her standing in the company. And I was thinking, boy, has the world changed from 2023 to 2006 when it was the exact same thing with you. And I mean, when did the world start changing as far, or at least the United States' perception of marijuana started changing, in your opinion?
Dude, always. It always has been changed, and I've always been in tune with the movement. I wouldn't have invested my whole image into getting behind it if I didn't know that eventually common sense was going to win. So I had a great mentor in Jack Harrer. He's so legendary that there's a weed strand, very popular one, named after him. And he was the man that was educating everybody on hemp, on the over 5,000 uses that hemp could be used for, and in many of them in a superior manner to what we have now, like wood, and you know, there's so many things that Henry Ford made a car out of hemp. It ran on hemp seed oil, so we could be self-sufficient, you know. But that kind of stuff, Jack Harrer was teaching me, and also the reasons why cannabis is prohibited. And so, you know, I got into, I love history now, maybe not so much as a kid, although I did love Greek mythology. Now it's, for the last, I don't know, several years, it's always mafia history, but that's my go-to. But it all, the thing about nonfiction, it all intercedes. In fact, the guy who was the head of what would become the DEA, Harry Anslinger, he's the one that had a hard-on against cannabis, and he personally was campaigning with that ridiculous movie Reefer Madness.
Yeah.
He would go to schools, invite parents to look at this, and anyway, when I learned the reasons behind it, it's basically because cannabis could replace like 80% of every other big conglomerate business. It's that resourceful, and so there's profits that would be lost from big families, you know, big banks and Rockefellers and Morgans and DuPont, everybody, and they're all part of it. In fact, Harry Anslinger also was someone that was an anti-mob officer. So when I said everything is intertwined, he goes on in history actually to fight the mafia, which is interesting. But you know, they said that it makes you crazy, it makes you violent. In 1970, Richard Nixon made the Controlled Substance Act for this war against drugs, and they temporarily put cannabis in a Schedule 1, which means the worst, the most dangerous drug there is. While they sent out for this report, and when the report came back, it was supposed to back up their agenda, but it did not. It said, no, it's safe. No one dies from it. There's no proof that it's hitting kids at an alarming rate, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so Nixon threw the report away, and now today it's still a Schedule 1. It's so the government here in the United States tells me that marijuana, heroin, and acid are all a Schedule 1, meaning the worst drug there is. So Schedule 2 is safer for you and for the environment, and that's where you'll find cocaine, meth. In fact, I've tried cocaine. It's not my kind of drug. I probably wouldn't try it if the government didn't tell me that it's safer for me. I know marijuana is safe.
No one's ever overdosed?
No, and why does that not get through to people? You know what I mean? Like, instead of just realizing if no one has died from smoking it and people have died from chewing bubble gum, it's like, why doesn't that get through to people to say, wait a minute, something doesn't add up here? But a lot of people just think of it as a dirty habit or something they're not interested in. And that's
I did go to New York last month, and it stinks there. It's just every single block you can smell it.
And I love that. I feel like for me, that is years of hard work, decades of hard work paying off, seeing the world reach that level. Because we only have like maybe 10 states. It was 12 a few months ago. I think a couple went through with no medicinal programs. I'm sorry, no marijuana programs, whether it's legal or recreational. Like we have out of all of our states, I was told that when 2/3 of the majority were a certain way, it mandated a federal change, but it's split up between recreational and medicinal and counties. Sometimes it's even jurisdictional differences. But there's very few places where it's completely illegal, like the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama might be one that just changed, or else they're adopting a program. But even so, people still overall, I think, feel like it's something that doesn't concern them, so they don't mind that people are still put in jail and their dogs are shot and houses sold because of this plant. Like, if it doesn't seem to bother them directly, then that's just the way it is. It's not that big of an issue for them. And I think overall people look at it still as maybe kind of like a dirty habit. But what I learned years ago from Jack Herer was it can actually improve your life expectancy. And that's what people eventually are going to get to, where you can use it in a productive and healthy manner, combine it with a healthy lifestyle. And it's not no longer a dirty little habit. It's something you're doing to increase your health. And by the way, I wanted to do a documentary for so long on the honest results of what long-term smoking does to somebody, an athlete, maybe several athletes. This has gone through rotations on my plate. Sometimes it's on my front burner. Sometimes I forget about it. It comes back around. But I had my lungs x-rayed just from my knowledge. I had two different doctors look at it, two different ones read, and they both said that my lungs are clear. There's no sign of smoking. There's no discoloration or inflammation or irregularities. They could tell that I'm not a cigarette smoker. Boom. I think that would surprise a lot of people, especially since I've been doing my YouTube show. I read the feedback, and some of these people actually think they're like, well, obviously you got some damage, Rob. You've been smoking a long time. Like, they really think like they're in better shape than me. Like, I didn't know, but it makes sense. People's perception will be like that because of how we're taught, and and common sense is something, although it's rare, but it's easy to just blow something off and say, well, yeah, putting smoke in your lungs just couldn't be a good idea, no matter what. But that's not necessarily true, even if the facts don't back it up. And like you said, no one's died from it. No one's even reported, like a case of cancer or anything. So I don't know. Is that what changed my voice? I don't know. But when I hear myself talk from like BCW days, you're gonna get a Van Terminator, Scotty Riggs. Is it Scotty Anton? I can't believe that was my voice, but that's just, it's also a wrestler voice. Al Snow seems to have changed recently, and I know he don't smoke weed.
No.
He bogarts it.
Yeah, maybe it's like the Dom Fry thing. If you ever saw Dom Fry back in the day, and he had the same thing, it's like, I'm gonna, whoever he was fine. And then nowadays, like, well, how you doing there, pal? He's like the deepest voice. I've got a sort of quick fire from fans, a few weed questions for you, and then I'm gonna follow up with a couple of my own as well. Ben C asks, what is your favorite strain for pain relief?
Okay, well, honestly, if that's all you want to know, just a strong indica, maybe probably OG Kush, something like that. But if you really want to know what I would recommend for pain, it wouldn't even be weed, it would be Kratom. And if you haven't heard of Kratom, it's a Kratom. You find Kratom. Well, you can buy it online, but also it's available like at head shops where you find CBD or where you find pipes. Kratom is from the coffee plant. It's a dried up leaf. They crumble up into this powder. It tastes horrible, but when you ingest the powder, which you can do in a capsule, although the capsules don't work as good as the straight up powder. You can buy it even like in little drink shots, but it's really expensive, like $20 for a 5-hour energy size. And it's hard to find. And it's illegal in some cities.
So it's got to be good.
Yeah, exactly, because it works so good. So it latches onto our opiate sensors in our brain, and it's the best sleep aid. It's also the best pain management that I can recommend other than pharmaceuticals. Same with anxieties. A lot of people, and some people get high off of it too. I don't. Everyone has different sensitivities or whatever, and they sell it. Red leaves, which are supposed to bring you down like sleep. Green leaves go white in between. I think it's all the same from my experience. And I've had 2 manufacturers tell me that it's all the same. But either way, the powder is nasty to take. But when I take it, I got to tell you, it takes a while to find the right dosage and stuff, but it's very comparable to taking a prescription pill like a Vicodin. In fact, a lot of my friends have been able to get off of prescription pills and just switch to Kratom. So that's what I would recommend, even over a strong indica.
I'm going
to sleep anxiety, pain. Those are the top 3 benefits that it's just wonderful in.
I've got none of them. I still want to try it. Right, I am very sorry. I'm going to have to trouble you because we've got quite a few of these very short answers to these. Team Fingers says, is RVD an indica, sativa, or hybrid guy?
Hybrid, sativa dominant hybrid.
Next one, CJ Shook asks, question for Rob, would be about being on the cover of High Times and how weed has helped his career. I mean, it was part of your personality for so many years on screen.
Right. Yeah. So that's good to ask how it's helped my career, because it's so easy for basic thinkers to think of without the weed what you could have done. But really, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did. It helped me feel comfortable getting into a business where I had been nowhere, except my grandma's house. I wasn't an experienced kid that traveled the world. I went right from high school to being in a dressing room full of these big Vikings that had war stories about fighting mobsters in the bars in Russia and all this. And I was very complex, insecure, and very quiet and shy, to a point where Dr. Steve Williams thought that I was actually slow. He's like, you're kind of slow, aren't you, Rob? And I was like, no, I don't. That's how I remember feeling like back in the day with him and Gary Albright and all these guys with these stories. And it's like, I rode a roller coaster with my hands up. That's anyway, cannabis helped. It inspires adequacy. That's the best way to put it. Physically, I've used it to be in my best shape. It increases my spiritual vibe so that I'm at my best. So whether it's nausea or pain or discomfort, it's not insomnia or just jet lag or whatever, it kind of resets, reboots, makes me feel like I'm at my best. And so it's something that I've really enjoyed having as part of my process.
Rob asks, do you like to dab concentrates?
It's something that that I don't not like it, but I'm not conditioned for it right now. So it kicks my ass. I'll cough, for an hour after doing a dab. Whereas when I met Katie, I was just doing dabs one after another. That was just, so it really depends on what you switch to. Right now, for the last long time, years, I usually use RVD rolling papers, and I just smoke joints. So because of that, even a bong hit right now will have me coughing my lungs up.
Chuck Town Boy says, can you rank these in order from most favorite to least favorite? Blunts, joints, bongs, edibles.
What was the order?
Sorry, you may do the order of them from most light to least light. So blunts, joints, bongs, edibles.
So from order of like to not like,
Yep.
joints, blunts, bongs, edibles. Boom, right there. We did it. Yeah.
There you go. Just very briefly before we move off it, I referenced 2006 with the, you and Sabu. Everyone knows the story, essentially. A couple of questions.
No, they know their own version of it. It's actually so different than actually, just like everything. Just like you were talking about maybe on the cover of the High Times magazine. Mm-hmm. That's just myth. It never happened.
Oh, really? No way. Do you know what?
Take a picture. There's a cover shot, and it's in the middle of the magazine in front of our article. But Ozzy Osbourne is actually on the cover. He bumped me off, but in everyone's memory, I was
going to say, you can't be that hard done by.
Just like during the big arrest, right? Everyone knows I got arrested, right? I didn't even get arrested.